review only for the term exam, right? We saw much more than this in class. I'm doing a quick review so you know exactly what to study only for the exam. So the first important thing about Unit 9 is the rise of absolute monarchs. Remember, we have them in Portugal, England, France, and Spain. And we have a nice timeline here with some figures that we know from the Protestant Reformation and later that we saw at the end of the unit, right? Like Philip II. We have Juana la Loca, right? Philip the Fair, Juana, who was the daughter of Ferdinand and Isabella, the Catholic monarchs. You can see how it all works together. The interesting thing about these people is they come from the Habsburg family. They had a very ingenious way of increasing their territory. Instead of fighting wars, the traditional way, what they did was they strategically married other families with lots of territory to have absolutely no loss and increase their gains in territory. Okay? Some extremely important characteristics of authoritarian monarchs is that what's important to keep in are these four things. But what's important to keep in mind is they are all ways that they exerted their authority over the feudal lords. So we're moving from feudalism into absolute monarchies, which means in feudalism you have lots of feudal lords who are taking the power away from the king, right? Because the king can only be at one place at one time, and whatever's happening with his vassals in other areas, he doesn't know, so they go on as they like. In this case, they're trying to create more centralized authority. So how do they do this? Number one, with permanent armies, with professional soldiers. That means you pay people to fight for you all the time, right? Instead of the feudal lords, each knight went with his lord, and then if you were above them, well, maybe you got that knight, but it was a mess, right? Applying common laws in all their territories, so that's very, very anti-fuero, right? Organizing administrations with government officials who worked for the monarch, so strengthening the public administration system, right? Organizing the state better, and developing diplomacy to defend their interests abroad, meaning putting ambassadors in other countries to represent the king. Craftwork was still controlled by the guild, and the most important thing was the textile. That was the most important industry. What's important here, though, is the domestic system. Okay, you have very, very clear how it worked. And it's very simple. It's written right here. A merchant supplied the raw materials to the workers. The workers were invariably peasants. They took them home, worked in their houses, right? Produced the products, gave it back to the merchant, who then sold it in the market. This was a great system for the merchant because he didn't have to own a factory or buy a place where the peasants could work. He just took advantage of their homes, right? So it was less cost, more profit, right? We have the development of trade, right? Some of the slides that aren't included here, we saw that their trade is growing, right? This required large amounts of money to be moved. So in order to keep them safe from pirates, for example, instead of carrying a chest full of gold, what you did was you made a bill of exchange, which is a document in which one person promises to pay another a sum of money on a specific date, what we call in English an IOU, right? Saying, I promise to pay you 500,000 ducats on the 7th of May, right? And it's signed, and you just meet that day and you pay.